Hey everyone! This is an update on my Bellara build that I'm doing in 24 days. It is now 12 days to the event for the fandom BioWare party at San Diego Comic-Con. I still haven't heard anything yet, but I have my fingers crossed, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. At least I'm doing this for myself, but also for the love of the character, and that I'm just excited for Dragon Age Veilguard. The following are my processes on how I am building this costume with no guidance, hardly any reference images, and just doing my best based on the little information that I have, knowing some artistic sensibilities that happen with design in both animation and games, hoping for the best, and while also making this a breathable costume that I won't die in. The following is my process. Maybe some sewing ASMR will happen. Hope you learned something along with me. A lot of this was problem solving, trying to figure out what was gonna work best, just also like dreaming about the character and wondering, like, you know, who is she based on the information that we have so far. Yeah, enjoy my process. I forgot to mention that in this part I had traced a shirt that is made of linen that I knew fit me well and that I knew would be a good base for a pattern that I could alter and change as I needed to based on the fit that shirt already gave me. So you know, when you're making a pattern, it is a good idea to go based off of things that you know already fit you in a similar fabric type that is what you will eventually be working with. Also, Rexy says hi. Hi! Okay, so what I did was I traced my lining to the size that I needed, and then I cut it out from the thicker linen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pattern for the lattice opening area that I will also be putting bias tape in to both not only hold its shape but also to create that cute little pattern that you see on Bellara's blouse. I haven't done this before, wish me luck. I made this stencil of the beginning of the lattice basic shape. I took a piece of fabric scrap that I had and I just folded it like 3 or 4 times, and then I cut it out in the shape that I needed. Bellara has a lot of triangular shapes. There are motifs throughout her whole outfit, so there's no surprise that this is basically 2 triangles put in one. And then there's like these cute little strips that go down as well as like a middle one that goes across. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to trace this pattern onto my fashion fabric. Yes, that's right, I'm going whole ham. I'm not doing a mock-up because I feel pretty confident about this. If I mess up, it's my own fault. I will be tracing this on and cutting it out on both sides, and then I'm going to put bias tape around the edge of this so that way it will stay reinforced, or I might just fold it over and have it self-hem, and then I will begin adding the bias tape, but I have to be methodical about the spacing and the location of each. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a piece of bias tape from here to here first, so that way it holds structure, and same thing from here to here, because I'm pretty sure there's just like a cross section there, but I'm going to check my reference, make sure that that's what it looks like, and then I will move on from there. Woo! I'm doing it! After the boob windows were cut out, I did sew down the bias tape. I felt it helped to also hold its shape better. I've discovered the magic of heat and bond iron-on adhesive, which basically is a glue for your fabric. So these little areas here, I was so nervous I was gonna have to sew every single one of these down. No, they are attached via heat and bond. Ugh, what a lifesaver. Next course of action is to take the lining and place it on top of here. I might use some more heat and bond just to get the edges, make sure they're all nice and crisp, and then I might top stitch it down, but I'm really pleased with my progress so far. This feels really good. I am making good headway. Yes. Okay, I I forgot that she has piping around the neck, so I added that really quick. Heat and bond really is speeding up this process. Most of this is heat and bonded together. I will probably heat and bond this. It is actually starting to look like her shirt. I'm very pleased. Excellent. She is on the mannequin and she's starting to look like a blouse. So before I go down and secure these side areas, I think I'm gonna go in with some more heat and bond and do it over the lattice areas, just so that way it's not flopping around. Because my worst nightmare is that this gets caught on something and rips, or something else terrible happening. So to prevent that, I'm gonna heat and bond the boob windows. Anytime I'm working on a project with a new character that's unfamiliar to me, I think about who they are as a person, what led them to where they are right now. And as of right now, we don't know much about Bellara. She is known as a veil jumper, she is a romantic, she is a mage of some sort. She also has archery capabilities, which I absolutely love about her character, as I'm also an archer. And I also really like mage types, so I think this could be a good marriage for both of us. But since we don't know much about her, all I can assume is that she has something to do with the veil, something to do with Solus. The fact that she is an elf and Solus is also an elf leads me to raise my eyebrows in the way that her story might parallel your Rook character when you end up playing them. And I think there's a lot of possibilities and potential here for her to be a big part of the story, especially because she is in so much of the promo art, but yet we don't know much about her. And I find that very intriguing. Her design is also a lot of triangle shapes, and I wonder if that has something to do with the veil specifically, or her specifically. We haven't seen many triangle shapes in relation to Solus, so I wonder if it is something to do specifically with the veil jumpers. Next up is the sleeves. I'm marking out the tulip shape that she has on her design. And what I realized a little too late was that each of the tulip layers tend to flare out a little bit instead of lay on top of each other. But you know what? I'm pretty crunched for time, and I'll deal with that later. Here I'm also marking out where the opening is for the lattice shapes on her sleeves, and I realized that it doesn't actually come into a point. It kind of just becomes a straight line right there. For each of the layers on her sleeve, I wasn't going to cut them out individually. However, I like working smarter and not harder. So what I did was, instead of making 3 separate layers of fabric, I used 1 large layer, and then I added 2 smaller layers with just enough fabric that I needed to give it the appearance that it had multiple layers. That way I use less material, it's less money, and less effort on my part, plus less bulk, which is exactly what I need during the summertime. More heat and bond was used for the hemming of the fabric on the sleeves, as well as for more latticing. I really love heat and bond. I cannot express how much this helped with this project. I'm sold on this. Although it only seems to work on thinner fabrics, especially more natural materials, I would highly recommend using thinner materials like linen or cotton if you're going to use heat and bond. Anything synthetic might be tricky, and anything thicker than something like cotton probably wouldn't work very well. Here I'm estimating where the lattice bias tape parts might go. I'm kind of just eyeballing it at this point.
If you're someone like me who has a big background in art, I think this is fine, but if you're somebody who doesn't normally have a strong eye for distance and measurements, maybe don't eyeball it. I wouldn't recommend that. Gosh, she looks so pretty when she's all done up, doesn't she? Like a beautiful prison window. Except for shoulders, not for boobs this time.
The moment of truth has happened. I have a full sleeve. This is very exciting. I wasn't sure how this part was going to work out because her sleeves are stacked, but I think I'm pretty pleased with how this is coming out. Time will tell in the long run how this will all come together. My biggest nightmare is something getting caught on this and ripping, so I think I'm gonna base this down. Shout out to my camera person. Love you.
After I got both sleeves finished and sewed on, oh my gosh, she's really coming together. I cannot believe it. It's at this point that I'm always in disbelief of she's really coming to life in front of me.
It was at this point in time that I realized I needed to go to my favorite place on earth, Remainders Creative Reviews in Pasadena.
Remainders get stuff donated to them from all over the place, so you genuinely never know what you're going to find there. I just so happened to come across the perfect trims that I needed for Bellara and the perfect colors. It's crazy. And then some stuff that I need to dye too, but that's besides the point. Then it was time to work on the pants. My nightmare. Pants are coming along. I ended up ripping out the side seam so I could put the zipper here. I felt like adding bulk to the front or the back was not gonna work out very well for me. But now it looks weird even if I have the zipper on the side. So you know what? This is gonna get covered up anyway, this whole front panel. So I say, whatever, let's keep moving forward. I also got the zipper from Remainders for like 50 cents. So shout out to Remainders, favorite place on earth, truly, more so than Disneyland. I'm not kidding. I have the zipper installed. Next is to do the waistband, and probably gonna put a button up here. Might put elastic in the waistband just to hold it a little tighter so I feel more secure. But this is gonna be on pause for now because I'm gonna go hang with my N7 peeps. I was having issues with the waistband around the pants being more fitted and feeling more comfortable. And then my friend who was visiting from out of town, Murder Cupcake, shout out, said, why don't you just make secret toddler pants? And I was like, what is that? And it's where you put elastic on the inside and the back of pants. And it worked. Toddler pants! After inserting elastic and embracing my inner 3-year-old, I added some hook and eye so that way the top of the pants would be connected. And here is the pants and blouse together. Oh, it's happening! Here's both a test fit for the pants and also figuring out where the piping is going to go if I need to actually cut part of the pants off to add in the shapes that I need, or if there's a way to just sew them on top. But if I sew them on top, then I'm probably going to lose the stretch that exists in the fabric, so I will need to cut them. This is where I realized I'm in trouble. I marked out with permanent marker while I will need to do the cuts. Probably don't recommend that, but apparently it comes out with rubbing alcohol, so we're fine. Scary moment for me, as I hate sewing pants anyway. Cutting this up was a nightmare come true. I was so scared I was going to mess this up. But as I did a test fit and as I added in the piping slowly and the bias tape, it didn't seem to lose stretch, and it seemed to keep its shape. So I remained cautiously optimistic in the face of my fears. Going slow and stretching and turning the fabric as I moved forward really helped a lot with this process. And I actually do feel like the bias tape helped the flare shape of the flaps on the legs hold their shape better. And I'm pretty pleased with how it ended up coming out.
Now with the pants finished, it was then finally time to make the overskirt. Now in her character design, it looks as though the overskirt is made of leather. However, I live in Southern California, and I'm planning on wearing this costume in the heat of summer, where it might be humid and hot, and I need maximum breathability. So leather was not the option. I actually had found some more linen in the perfect color at Remainders Creative Reuse in Pasadena, of course, my Lord and Savior, and I began crafting the overskirt. I had to pattern it myself.
The back of the overskirt layers, I'm basically doing the same thing that I did for the sleeves, making the other layers shorter and just attaching it to the longer piece.
I am currently still working on it, but it is coming along. I have made significant progress since I've been editing this video, and she's really coming along. So I'm excited to show you more of that in part 3 of this video series. Thank you so much to everyone who is cheering me on, who is encouraging me during this process, anybody who gave me critique or advice, especially when asked for. It's been very helpful, and I'm very excited to see her put together. I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, it's really happening. Like, I can see her becoming real in front of my eyes, and it's a beautiful thing. Follow along on Instagram stories, follow along with this YouTube channel. Your support means a ton. I will let you all know if I get into the event, and if I don't, that's okay too. See you in the next part.